The chair will now call this meeting to order, and the clerk will now take roll.
Senator Albano.
Here.
Senator Lim.
Here.
Senator Ayers.
Present.
Senator Gonzalez.
Here.
Senator Gravitt.
Here.
Senator Harris. Senator Gigi.
Here.
Senator Lukowski.
Here.
Senator McGarry.
Here.
Senator Mendez.
Here.
Senator Molina.
Here.
Senator Morgan.
Here.
Senator Singh.
Present.
Senator Sue.
Here.
Senator Swanson.
Here.
Senator Thomas.
Here.
Senator Vanals.
Here.
Senator Biswanoff.
Present.
Senator Whalen.
Here.
Senator Belize.
I'm here.
Okay. The chair will look favorably upon the main motion of the day, the Mandatory Photo Identification to Vote Act. Is there anyone who wishes to take the floor?
Wait, then I have to read.
Yeah. Wait, okay. I don't know. The clerk will now read the vote.
Whereas voting is a right that must be protected for all citizens, fair and secure elections are crucial for a correct democracy. Whereas a standard form of identification will help protect the voting process by preventing voter impersonation, helping prevent the fraudulent activities, keeping Americans' trust in the voting process, and providing a simple and effective measure to ensure the accuracy of our elections by the guaranteeing of every legal vote is counted and every citizen's voice is heard. Let it be enacted by the Princeton Model Congress. Section 1. Each individual looking to cast a ballot in person should show a valid form of photo identification to a poll worker before being allowed to vote. A photo ID will be a state-issued driver's license, a passport, or a military ID. Each state should provide a free photo identification card to any eligible voter who does not already have a valid form of identification. The free identification cards should be available at all state and local Department of Motor Vehicles offices to ensure accessibility for all citizens. Section 3. For absentee ballots, a photocopy of a valid form or photo identification must be included with the ballot envelope. The absentee ballot will be defined as a vote cast by someone who is unable to attend the official polling station. Section 4. The Election Assistance Commission should start a nationwide public awareness campaign to inform all citizens about the new voter identification requirements and the process for obtaining a free photo identification card. Section 5. This bill should be enacted into effect 1 year after passage.
Is there anyone who wishes to take the floor? The chair will now recognize the sponsor of the bill and allow them 4 minutes to the floor. You have 4 minutes.
Hello, fellow senators. I stand here today to talk about something very important for our democracy, the fairness of our elections. The right to vote is the most important right we have as citizens, and it's our job to make sure it is both easy and safe. Today, I'm here to stand up for the Mandatory Photo Identification to Vote Act. I would like to begin by informing everybody on the issues with the current system. Each state sets its own voter ID rules. Some states require voters to bring ID to vote in person, and some do not. Only 15 out of the 50 states, one including New Jersey, do not. This variation in voter requirements raises a critical question about the fairness in our elections. When we come together as a nation to elect a single president, why should the process for casting a ballot be so different depending on where a person lives? The different rules can lead to confusion and raise questions about whether every citizen's vote is equally protected. A national standard could help ensure the process is consistent and fair for all voters, no matter their location. I recognize that this proposal may raise concerns about its impact on certain communities and the ability of all citizens to access a valid ID. To address these concerns, this bill includes a critical aspect that every state would be required to provide a free photo identification card to any eligible voter who does not already possess a valid form of ID. These cards would be made easily accessible to all citizens at state, local Department of Motor Vehicle offices, ensuring that nobody is prevented to vote due to lack of identification. Giving everybody who needs it a free, easy-to-get ID isn't just a small compromise, It's a huge step forward in our democracies. It shows the government is serious about making sure everybody is able to vote. By offering it at free places, we're making sure every eligible citizen has a basic tool they need to fully be a part of our country and economy. This bill changes a potential problem into a real opportunity for everybody to be included. To add on, some people also argue that voter fraud is rare, but that doesn't mean we should ignore the problem. The 2015 City Council election in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, serves as a clear example of how voter fraud, particularly with absentee ballots, can directly change the outcome of an election. The initial results showed one candidate winning by just 10 votes. However, a judge overturned the election and ordered a new one after it was proven that at least 13 illegal absentee ballots had been cast. The fact that the illegal votes directly changed who was elected is a key point for the risk without stronger safeguards. For absentee ballots, a photocopy of a valid form of photo identification must be included with the ballot envelope in the future. Although a presidential election is decided by electoral votes and not by the individual voters, swing states can get persuaded easily. This could potentially alter the outcome by influencing which candidate wins that state's electoral votes. This makes the implementation of stronger regulations a crucial concern. Ultimately, this proposal is about creating a consistent and trustworthy electoral process for every American, regardless of their zip code. The current doings of the different state rules leaves our system open to confusion and risks for the public's faith in the results. While we have the right to vote, we also have a responsibility to ensure that every single ballot is legitimate and the system is fair for all. A vote for this bill is a vote for the rights of the people. It's a vote for a fair and honest system. Vote yes for the mandatory photo identification to vote act. Thank you.
You have a minute and 19 seconds left. How would you like to yield your time?
Good questions.
Floor is now open to questions. Oh my gosh, 19 seconds, I'm sorry.
19?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. 2 questions.
Senator Reynolds.
The MVC, especially in states such as New Jersey, are often backed up already, as seen in the delays for people to get their real IDs, which take up to 3 months in New Jersey. So how long would it take for people to get their free identification cards if the MVC is already backed up as it is?
I understand that this is a concern that it's already very backed up. I feel like we have to, like, in the future make, like, hire more workers so that there's, like, more time, so that more people are working, so that everybody is accessible to an ID.
2 seconds.
Okay, to the chair.
The chair will now observe the time. Any points or motions?
What would be the requirements for the free photo identification card?
What would actually be stated in section?
Oh, wait, can I answer
Yeah,
this?
the author of the bill can answer that.
I said it in my speech, but it's just basically anybody who doesn't already have an ID. So it's just given to anybody who doesn't already have one.
Point of information, what does one need in order to acquire these IDs? What do they need to get it?
Senator Albano.
What kind of requirements do you need to get it, the ID? You just say your name and get one?
Well, if you don't already have an ID, then you tell them you don't have one
Can you prove it to me?
and you get one. Well, you're gonna have to prove it to you by, like, a birth certificate. Sorry, I was confused on the question.
Any points or motions? Senator Ayers.
Point of information, could the chair please define the phrase correct democracy as it is used in line 2? Thank you.
We'll turn that over to Senator Biswanath, who is our fact checker.
There is no single universally agreed upon correct model of democracy. Democracy is a governing system that has been interpreted and implemented in various ways throughout history and around the world. However, there are core principles defined such as rule of law, free and fair elections, respect of human rights, accountable institutions, and protection of minorities.
Any points or motions? Senator Morgan.
Point of information, do we have a statistic on how much in-person fraud we have versus in the mail? Like in person versus through the mail?
I'll let Senator Bissonnette answer you. Oh, okay, any other points or motions?
Would I be able to answer that? I have those statistics.
Oh, sure, go for it.
So the statistic is 0.0004% of all ballots cast during like in-person elections are fraudulent, and out of 2 million votes cast by mail, only 193 were criminal convictions.
Okay. The chair will now recognize the main opposition to the bill. You'll have 4 minutes.
Voting is a right that must be protected for all citizens, as Senator Albano states. Since the creation of the Voting Rights Act in 1965, this idea has become a core part of America's voting system, which has allowed minorities to get involved in their government. With this bill, it is Senator Albano's intent to guarantee that every voice is heard. However, what she fails to realize is that her bill will end up doing just the opposite for about 21 million Americans. Yes, you heard that right. Around 21 million Americans would suddenly be unable to vote due to the fact they do not have a government-issued ID. Why is this such a large number? There is a multitude of reasons, but here are just a few of the most well-known ones. It's possible they live in a city where driving is unnecessary, so they don't have a license, or perhaps they lack the funds to afford a car anyway, so they have no reason to get a license again. Many Americans do not even live close to a DMV, so if there are any Americans who wish to get a driver's license in order to vote, they would have to travel quite far. This issue only gets worse due to the fact that it also targets Black Americans, as certain new voter ID laws have been passed to close down DMVs in predominantly Black areas. Citizens may also not travel often, so they don't have a passport. Senator Albano specifically states in Section 1 of this bill that one must possess a state-issued driver's license, a passport, or a military ID, and show it prior to voting. Voting has been an essential and fundamental part of our nation for years, a system that should include all Americans, that reminds us all that we have freedom to make our own choices. Why would we allow so many Americans to be left unable to vote and unable to use their voice in our government? One of Senator Albano's concerns is also identity fraud in voting. While you may believe this to be a problem on the surface, the truth of the matter is that in-person voter fraud is actually extremely rare, with only about 0.0004% of all ballots cast during elections actually being fraudulent. This concern is not something exactly to worry about, unlike her bill, which would refuse a large portion of Americans from voting in the first place. In Section 2, she also discusses the concept of a free voter ID, which she also refers to as a free photo ID. Based on the name, you would assume this to be an ID that is free and easy to obtain, correct? Unfortunately, in order to get this free voter ID, Americans must have the following required documents, like birth certificates, social security cards, bank statements, etc. This may come as a surprise, but 3.8 million people living in the US do not have any proof of citizenship altogether. One of the biggest contributing factors is the financial aspect for those who are homeless or have a lack of income. For those who do not have the certificates, they will have to pay a fee in order to get them replaced, essentially paying in order to vote in the first place. There are also some Americans who were born in Puerto Rico, in which the country has since invalidated all birth certificates that were made before 2010. As I previously stated, the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. This ensured that governments could not pass laws that deny American citizens equal rights to vote. But in 2013, the Supreme Court took up a case called Shelby County versus Holder, which asked the Supreme Court to declare Section 5 of this act as unconstitutional. Section 5 is a very important part of the act, as it makes jurisdictions with a history of discrimination have to submit any changes to voting to the U.S. Department of Justice before it goes into effect. the Supreme Court ended up declaring Section 4B of the Voting Rights Act as unconstitutional, with this section determining which jurisdictions are covered by Section 5. So this now technically means that Section 5 is invalidated unless a state sets it up again. Therefore, jurisdictions no longer have to submit any changes, allowing for discrimination against minorities to fester in our voting. Senator Albano's mandatory photo identification to vote act would indirectly cause even more discrimination, as an estimated 1.86 million Black Americans and another 1.86 million Hispanic Americans lack a photo ID. Senator Albano's concerns is voter impersonation will not allow for a fair and secure election, while instead it will make voting a privilege for those who possess a valid ID. Voting should be a right that every single American citizen has, and Senator Albano's bill will cause many to lose this right. I urge you to consider all of the people who will lose their voices in our government due to this bill. Thank you.
You have 1 minute and 12 seconds. How would you like to use your time?
Questions?
Floor is now open to questions. Senator Viswanov.
Senator Swanson, you stated that in your speech that 0.04% is not necessarily a percentage that most Americans should worry about. But what would you say to the city council election of 2015 in New Jersey that was overturned due to 13 illegal votes? Or 13 illegally cast absentee ballots. Do you think that that doesn't matter to those people in those small elections?
I still definitely do think that it matters and it is important, but in the grand scheme of it, with what Senator Albano is trying to do with this bill, I'm still concerned about the number of people who are more willing to be left out if this bill is passed, personally.
Senator Aline.
So in your speech, you said that a lot of people don't have IDs because they don't drive. But how are they getting to these polling stations? Like, they're not driving.
That's true. Well, I do think it is a lot more likely that voting stations, they will have access to be able to get to a voting station. Most of them, for example, I brought up a little bit, if they live in a city, they are able to walk there, but there are also some areas where you cannot walk to a DMV.
You have 43 seconds. Still questions?
How much?
43.
Questions?
Any questions? Senator Mendez.
You stated, Senator Swanson, you mentioned that, or Commissioner, I'm sorry, that she mentioned in her speech that 3 million will have documents. So, I'm just a bit confused on how, if these Americans, their voices are still being heard in casting ballots, or if they don't count in the casting ballot, if they even cast a vote, and if they do, what's the process of verifying them to make sure they really are American and they have citizenship in this country?
So is that a question for me or for the chair?
The question was to her.
So you can declare
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I do not have a genuine statistic about that. So I cannot give you that information, unfortunately.
I can answer.
Oh, Senator Ayers.
If a person is a U.S. citizen, they will be on government databases. Not personally having on you your birth certificate, your passport, any of that, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You might not have access to it. If you are an unhoused person, you might not have access to easy transportation, especially if you live in a rural area. To access these areas, there are very easy ways to validate if you are onto U.S. citizen. That doesn't mean that voter fraud doesn't happen, but the issues you're bringing up wouldn't be an actual problem. Thank you.
You have 33 seconds.
Questions?
Senator Viswanov.
Senator, you brought up the issue of accessing birth certificates and other documents, correct? But I would just like to say, or I'd just like to ask then, there's already a lot of, as Senator Albano mentioned, there's already 15 states that require certain voter ID regulations. So as Senator Mendez just asked, how are those people being taken care of if they don't even have the documents in those places?
Well then, I suppose if there are voter laws in other places, then I suppose a lot of them aren't able to vote, I would suppose, right? If they don't have access.
Senator Albano.
So
Do you think that how do you think it's fair that every state is different, has different voting laws depending on where you live when everybody comes together and votes for the same president? So why does it matter where you live?
I didn't say that it matters where you live. I'm confused on the question. Could you rephrase it for me? I kind of don't fully understand.
Depending on where you live, there's different voting laws right now. Wouldn't it make more sense if all 50 states have the same,
Well, no, because it would leave out a lot of people who do not have IDs. I will yield my time to the chair.
Okay. Chair will observe your time. Any points or motions? Senator Wayland.
Point of information, Senator Albano keeps stating that we're voting for the same president, but this is making me confused. Is this bill only for a presidential election, or is it for every election?
No, it's not just for the presidential election, but the presidential election is for our country, that is the main focus of elections, so I'm just bringing that up a lot, but it goes for every election.
Senator McGarry.
Point of information, so section 2 states that they're giving out free photo identification, but the photo identification that's being given isn't listed in section 1 as an ID that's available to be used as per photo registration.
Yeah, good answer.
Senator Lukowski.
Motion to amend,
Which one?
add the shortest one.
We have to wait. We have to wait.
Oh, sorry. Oh, wait till general debate. Yeah, till the general debate. Any points or motions? Senator Gonzalez.
This is a point of information. Senator Swanson mentioned multiple times that people in our country do not have IDs. I was wondering, how much of this is not illegal immigrants and how much of it is actual U.S. citizens that do not have ID, that can vote and do not have ID?
Senator Albano.
So can I have the secondary pro?
Oh, yeah, go for it. Sorry.
What's the question?
How many people in the United States are citizens and can vote but do not have IDs?
Okay, while we wait for the answer, any other points or motions? Senator Wayland.
Point of information, how much will it cost to create the free IDs and to add that section to the DRE?
Senator Albano.
Well, we don't have an exact cost yet, but yeah, we don't have an exact cost that I can give you right now.
Okay. Senator Gravick.
Point of information, how do you plan on funding the free IDs along with the campaign mentioned in section 4?
So we plan to relocate a small portion of the state's existing budget, but we're not proposing new taxes. We're just saying that the election is should be the main focus. So, and it should be one of the top financial priorities.
We have an answer from
I
Senator
can answer
Swan.
Senator Gonzalez's question, that over 2.6 million eligible U.S. citizens do not possess any form of government-issued photo identification. That number grows substantially when including citizens who lack a specific type of ID or whose current ID has mismatched information.
Okay. The chair will now recognize the. Who we just had? The secondary pro. Sorry, to the chair or to the floor. What was I?
Now you got it.
You'll have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, fellow delegates. I'm standing before you to express my complete support for the Mandatory Photo Identification to Vote Act authored by Senator Albano. Now, we can all agree that having free and fair elections is a foundation of our democracy, and I'm proud to say that this bill takes another step to support that. To begin with, more than 34 states already enforce some form of voter ID, and research from MIT Election Lab shows that clear identification requirements can actually boost public confidence in the integrity of elections. Despite claims that turnout could be suppressed, recent studies show little evidence that informing voters about ID requirements, Section 4 of Senator Albano's bill, reduces turnout. In Tennessee and Virginia, reminders about ID requirements increase turnout by up to 1.5 percentage points amongst some groups. And Major voting organizations agree that consistent rules help voters understand expectations and reduce confusion. Furthermore, as Senator Albano mentioned, a 2015 city council election in New Jersey was overturned due to 13 illegally cast absentee ballots, highlighting that even a handful of fraudulent votes out of thousands can determine an outcome, especially in close races. While some argue that in-person voter fraud is rare, even every proven instance undermines trust in our voting system. This bill counters such risks for both in-person and absentee ballots by requiring a free accessible photo ID for every citizen. Now, let's also recognize that government-issued photo identification is essential for daily life beyond voting. Needing to open a bank account, getting housing, and collecting government benefits is important, and the Act's provision in Section 2 of Free IDs addresses this accessibility issue. Now, it's important to clarify the impact on minority and low-impact voters. Broad independent research finds that when states offer universally accessible IDs and notify voters about the requirements, turnout gaps disappear or are significantly minimized. Ensuring that every American can get an ID at no cost transforms a potential barrier into a tool strengthening, not weakening our democracy. Thank you.
You have 1 minute and 53 seconds. How would you like to adjourn?
I yield my time for questions.
Senator Gigi.
Minorities affected because of this bill, because voting takes employment, opening up bank accounts, also accessing other essential services, such as people suffer from inaccessible documents, such as back in the time during legal segregation, black people are not allowed IDs, lack of a fixed address, because people move around, such as other minorities, they might not have proof of residency, not being able to obtain ID at all. And also incorrect ID. Native Indians born on native land do not have a birth certificate. So because of these systemic and even historical barriers, getting an ID may be expensive and difficult. Don't you think you're making a bill that is only for the privileged to vote and not for everyone?
I think I'll address Senator Gigi's issues by saying that he's not even addressing what's going on in our bill. We're trying to mandate photo IDs in the bill, and he's brought up tons of different systemic things to block voters, but in reality, those issues still exist and can be amended in other bills or other legislation. But this specifically, this legislation brought up specifically by Senator Albano is to mandate photo IDs for elections, for voting. Thank you.
Your speech, you mentioned a turnout gap. What is a turnout gap?
Essentially, it's just a gap between different areas in which voters go to vote. Simply put, and if we want to get an official definition on that, we can ask the chair to look up definition. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Chair will now absorb your time. Any points or motions? Senator McGarry.
Point of information, what is the budget of the Elections Assistance Commission Election Board?
Senator Biswanoff, can you look that up for us? Thank you. Any other points or motions while we wait for an answer? Okay. Oh, Senator.
Point of information.
Okay.
Wasn't there a Supreme Court case that already said that mandatory photo identification of vote was unconstitutional?
Senator Biswanoff, if you want to research that, go for it. Yeah. Well,
It's not dilatory. Come on.
okay. If you get to it, let me know. While we wait for an answer, the chair will now recognize the secondary con. You'll have 2 minutes.
Afternoon, Senators. I am here today to discuss the Mandatory Photo Identification to Vote Act. I think we all agree that voter fraud is a blight on our democratic process, but it should not be our main issue. Like Senator Swanson said, 0.004% of votes are done in a fraudulent manner physically, not to mention the fact, and this is what truly disturbed me, that we have a new bill for the creation of this. I would understand an amendment. 23 states already have laws for mandatory photo identification. I would support an amendment for that, but the amendment to the 1965 Voting Rights Act. But the fact that we are creating a new bill makes the reasons for this more obscure to me, unfortunately. The truth of the matter is that fear of fraudulent voting is a tool that has been used in many totalitarian governments to hold down the rights and uses of the citizenry. I am not calling the bill totalitarian, and I would like my opponents to understand I am not saying that. But I am saying there are risks in that argument. For example, in the 2020 election, President Trump lost to Joseph Biden, the former president of the United States. He then argued that he had actually won that, and because of fraudulent voting identification acts, he had unfairly lost the fight. He then encouraged his supporters to come and stage an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. This led to the greatest assault on the integrity of our democratic system we have seen at the very least in the 21st century, in which individuals were trying to violently undermine our Constitution. That is a much bigger concern than the concern of voting rights. It becomes, if we create a brand new shiny bill to force new voter restrictions, then what we are doing is we are making this a bigger issue, bringing it back into the public eye. I am willing to have a discussion with Senators Albano and Senators Viswanathan. I think their goals are noble and they have a clear interest in the health of our democracy. I'm going to discuss amendments to pre-existing laws, but we also already have very strict federal punishments for voter fraud. The reasons for a bill like this are unclear, and they only seem to undermine trust in our voting system, which is what this bill is trying to bring up in the first place. Thank you for your time.
You have a minute and 13 seconds. How do you
Questions?
Senator Lakowski.
You and Senator Swanson keep bringing up the 0.004% of voting fraud. Is that the votes that are found, or the votes that, how do we know if they're fraud or not, if they just never saw them? Like, they never found out they were fraud?
Well, that would obviously be dealing with hypothetical. Thank you for your question. That would be dealing with hypotheticals. It's impossible to know for 100% sure. However, we have very intense voting validation laws. They have gotten more intense since the 2020 election, especially in more Republican-leaning states, and that statistic remains. It has gone up. It used to be a lower statistic. We've done more research, and it has gone up to that number. But it's possible it's higher, but it would be a negligible amount. Thank you for your question.
Any other questions?
More questions.
Senator Gonzalez.
This is one to the chair. Can we get a precise number on how many states are already enforcing photo IDs for voting? Because he brought up 24, Senator Viswanathan brought up 34, and then Senator Albano brought up 15 do not require, which would mean 35. There seems to be an unclear number. Can we get a precise statistic?
I just looked it up. It's 36, and then including Washington DC as one of them.
Oh, my apologies. My
Thank
mistake
you.
there. I can answer.
Yeah, we have a answer to the
Yeah,
previous
got a couple
question.
answers here. We've got the answer to Senator McGarry's question, the budget for the Election Assistance Committee. 2025 fiscal year is sitting at $27.72 million. And then Senator Gigi on court cases on voter ID. Crawford versus Marion County Election Board 2008. This decision in that, a 6-3 decision, the court upheld the law allowing voter ID to be placed. There was no single majority opinion. Arizona versus Tribal Council of Arizona 2013. Supreme Court ruled 7-2 against Arizona, keeping that law in. But it seems to be a case-by-case basis on this.
Okay. Any other questions? Senator Vanals.
This statistic that you guys keep bringing up about how little voter fraud actually happens, you guys being you
Yeah.
and Senator Swanson, is that about presidential elections, all elections, gubernatorial elections, local elections? Because I feel like especially in the local level, since there's less people voting, like the example that was brought up before, even very few, even just a handful of fraudulent votes could impact a lot, so.
Yeah, it's an excellent question. I'm gonna be honest here, I am not sure. I took the statistic from Senator Swanson, and she would likely more be able to answer that for you. Thank you.
I also do not have a direct statement. I do believe it to be all elections. That's just a general
Okay.
thing. It's probably looking
I just have a question. How are you using this statistic if you don't even know, like, with both of you, like, what it actually is? Like, if it's for presidential or, like, all of it, like, if you don't have a clear indication of what this statistic is, then how are you using it for your argument?
Respect that concern and anxiety. We are under the impression that this statistic is being used for all elections. That is the only thing that would make mathematically sense with the number of electoral frauds that we have had in state, local, gubernatorial, and federal elections. I've done my research on this stuff personally, and the number would be higher if it was state. It would vary between states. Some states have, including New Jersey, have had an infamous history with voter fraud. Other states, such as Montana, have had no examples. So I appreciate what you are saying, and in the future I will work on being more specific with my sources, but it's the only understandable.
Okay,
Do it quick, do a placard vote.
okay. The debate is now extended.
May I also have a motion to suspend the rules when we go to general debate?
We haven't even entered.
Limit the amount of speaking to 30-second cues.
Yes.
I'll second.
Yes. Okay. We will now enter general debate. Is there anyone who wishes to take the floor? So this one off.
I appreciate my fellow senators who have brought up some very specific points in terms of voter accessibility, as well as some funding problems as well. I'd like to address those funding problems first and say that I'm sure Senator Albano would be open to an amendment in terms of adding a funding portion in there for DMV resources, which should also take care of some of the accessibility issues in terms of documentation. Thank you.
Any points or motions? Senator Lakowski?
Motion to amend.
Sure. Which one?
Yeah.
Okay. Add subsection D in section 1. Add the free identification as subsection D.
Yeah.
Does the friendly? Okay. Any points or motions? Senator Gonzalez.
Motion to amend.
Which one?
I have my name in the top right corner.
Oh, okay. Hold up.
It's a section 2.
Oh, okay, section 2. Add a subsection A stating requirements for the free photo identification card as any valid government ID or certificate that declares the person as a citizen of the United States or any of the other photo IDs mentioned in section 1. Do you want me to read it again?
Can you repeat it? 'Cause
Sure.
I feel like I already.
In section 2, add a subsection A stating requirements for the free photo identification card as any valid government ID or certificate that declares the person as a citizen of the United States or any of the other photo IDs mentioned in section 1. Friendly? Okay. The amendment is passed. Any points or motions? Senator Banals. Okay. Okay. Last one. Sure, which one? The cursive?
Yeah, you don't mind.
Okay, another section, add a new section to explain how you fund it.
Yeah, friendly.
Friendly, okay. We will now go back into general debate. Is there anyone who wishes to take the floor? Senator Gigi.
Honestly with this, I feel like there's too many issues that can arise because of minorities and other problems and court cases. And there's not too many specifics about budgeting and how this is gonna happen. And if I could, I would lay on the table. I can't.
Can you find Senator Gigi?
That's actually, yeah, I'm on.
That's a very
Okay.
dilatory
I'm on the
statement.
side of my constituents.
We'll find
That's
that
a
dilatory
statement.
for now.
That's what
Okay.
we're doing.
Decorum. Any points or motions? Okay, is there anyone who wishes to take the floor? Senator Albano.
So I understand like the concerns about the funding, so, yeah, we will have an amendment for that. And then a lot of people are bringing up like just like the fraudulent activities part, which is a big part of the issue. But another big part that they fail to like show is that every state has different like rules, and nobody sees this as a problem.
Any points or motions? Senator McGarry.
For section 2, would the
Is this
real
a
ID
point or motion?
point of information, sorry. Would the IDs given only be able to be used for voting, or would they be like real IDs or photo IDs that can be used as like valid forms of IDs at like say bars or other places that require ID?
Senator Albano.
I should have been more specific, so yeah, these IDs will be able to be used for more than just voting, so it's making everybody it's better for everybody in the long run.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to take the floor? Senator Banals.
I don't know, I feel like that last motion kind of extends the bill too much. Although I do generally like it, I do think requiring photo IDs might be a little too much. I do think all states should require an ID. Currently, 12 states do not require any forms of ID. I believe it's 24 states actually that require specifically photo IDs. And I'd also like to bring up the point that poll workers are volunteers.
Alright, finish your thought.
So like training them to look at IDs and identify fakes would take much longer. So what would you do if people don't want to volunteer for the polls?
Any points or motions?
Motion to move to the previous question.
Yeah.
Okay. The debate has closed. We will now recognize the 2-minute submission speech of the sponsor of the bill.
Oh, my placard. Okay, so I appreciate everybody with their concerns and questions about my bill. I just want to reiterate that our bill is more than just in-person fraud. It's about consistency and public trust. When 50 states have 50 different rules, it creates doubt. And this bill establishes a clear standard that assures all Americans in this election, in any election, are fair. And I urge everybody to vote for this bill. Thank you.
Okay. The clerk will now read the preamble of the bill and all past amendments.
Whereas voting is a right that must be protected for all citizens, fair and secure elections are crucial for a correct democracy. Whereas a standard form of identification will help protect the voting process by preventing voter impersonation, helping prevent fraudulent activities, keeping Americans' trust in the voting process, and providing a simple and effective measure to ensure the accuracy of our elections by guaranteeing that every legal vote is counted and every citizen's voice is heard. Let it be enacted by the Princeton Model Congress. And then add another section to explain how to fund it. In section 2, add a subsection A stating requirements for the free photo identification card as any valid government ID or certificate that declares the person is a citizen of the United States or any of the other photo IDs mentioned in section 1. And add subsection D to section A, add the free identification as subsection D.
We will now vote on the bill.
Do I ask
Yeah.
Senator Albano?
4.
Senator Lim?
4.
Senator Ayers?
Abstain.
Senator Gonzalez?
4.
Senator Gravitt?
4.
Senator Harris? Oh, sorry. Senator Gigi?
Against.
Senator Lukowski?
4.
Senator McGarry?
Against.
Senator Mendez?
4.
Senator Molina? Senator Morgan?
4.
Senator Singh?
Against.
Senator Sue?
Against.
Senator Swanson?
Against.
Senator Thompson?
4.
Senator Vanals?
Abstain.
Senator Biswanath?
4.
Senator Wayland?
Abstain.
And Senator Pavis?
4.
Wait, did it pass? Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Versus 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5,
exactly.
6. Is that a 2-3 vote? I don't know.
And then who
Hold on,
abstained?
guys, let's get the vote here.
1. She wasn't here.
So just whoever had like
So how many people is that in total?
16 and 10 out of 16.
All right, guys.
Okay, it passed.
It passed.
I don't
Good job, eh? We'll see you tomorrow.
Wait, make sure Gabby takes her. Wait, Francisco.